Hello, I'm Nancy Gregory. Joining me in conversation is author Sarah Summer Jackson to discuss her new book, Reimagining the Ultimate Elephant, Changing the Perception of Aging. She is the founder of Vibrant Aging Solutions, drawing on her 20 years in senior care, finance, and real estate. She holds degrees in gerontology and holistic nutrition and management. A certified senior advisor and senior real estate specialist, Jackson's book offers frameworks for navigating later life transitions. Summer, welcome. So great to chat with you.
It's great to be here. I'm very excited today.
I'm excited to dive into your book shortly, but first, earlier you shared with me that one of your pivotal career moments happened when you were about 39. You took on the role of administrator at a retirement community. How did that experience impact you?
Well, it's where it all started for me. I had been in management for years and I just really wasn't, retail management. I really wasn't connecting with that at all. That didn't feel like it was my purpose in life at all. And one day I saw a job ad for an administrator of a retirement community. And I didn't think they'd hire me, but I applied and they hired me. It was just the most incredible thing because I thought that I was going to be around a lot of older people who were just kind of living out the second part of their life really well and enjoying their time. And what I found was, though, yes, well, some were doing that. Many were in crisis mode all of the time. And their adult children would line up outside my office asking to see me and sharing their heartfelt problems with their parents with me. And I, of course, was new at this. And I didn't really know, how to answer the questions. But that really had an impact on me, the fact that I saw that people were in and out of crisis. And it wasn't what I had perceived it was going to be, that it was going to be some kind of like being on a retirement cruise or something. Nothing like that. So as I sat with those adult children, it really spoke to my heart. And I started to develop this real need to get in the trenches with them, to get to, be able to refer them to resources that would help them, and actually to try to solve some of the problems they were facing. So, and that became my life mission. Somehow that's what happened to me. And I went through it and I was going, oh my goodness, this is my life mission. I had such a passion for it. I didn't know how to even describe it.
Well, you said that a lot of the programs and resources available weren't proactive, but they were reactive. What do you mean by that?
Well, I served on the board of directors for Area on Aging. I started a nonprofit, and we had 150 professional members, doctors, Area on Aging, all of those types of organizations, anybody that worked in senior in any capacity in our community. But as I saw that I could begin to refer the adult children to the resources, and I started to connect with all of this, and I stepped back and I watched people going to the available resources, I saw that they still were in crisis mode. And it blew my mind. I thought that was going to be the solution to helping my residents not be in crisis mode. That I would have all the resources available at my fingertips, and I would be able to actually share those resources, and then that would take care of the problems. Well, it didn't. One day I was sitting on my couch and I was going, like, what is going on? Sorry, that's just the way I talk to myself. What is going on?
I do it too.
What is going on here? I don't know what is happening, but I'm not feeling like I'm solving these problems. And it just came out of the sky and just hit me like a ton of bricks. They're not being proactive. And the services are not necessarily set up for them to be proactive. The services are set up for them to come, whatever the service happens to be, to come into the office for an appointment when you're in a crisis, to go into the nursing home for rehab when you're in a crisis, to sell a home, short sale a home, in a crisis. Mm-hmm. So that's that hit me so hard. I just go, oh my goodness, that is what's happening. I need to help my people be more proactive.
Well, you also talk about the potential lost. Explain that.
The potential lost when you're not proactive. I think the best way I can describe that is, as I've seen it time and time again, and as I look at it in other people, when you end up falling, or you end up with a hip break, or you end up where your family can't take care of you anymore, and you end up in a nursing home, the ultimate thing that happens to you is you lose your autonomy in life.
Yeah.
I promote dignity, autonomy, and independence through my services. And so the worst thing that you ever want to be in life is in a nursing home, having someone you don't know make decisions for you. And you've lost all capability to speak for yourself. You've lost all capability to do basically anything in your life. And that's not where you want to end up.
No.
It's not where anybody wants to end up.
No. I hear you. It resonates with me because my mom has just entered a nursing home. She both broke hips and she's in a wheelchair. And
Yes.
they try, but there's a loss of dignity at times, and it breaks my heart.
Yes. And, I am not saying that ultimately going and being proactive about your aging is going to keep you out of a nursing home in that circumstance. But I am saying that if you are proactive, you are prepared for things that come your way, crisis and problems and things that come your way, and you will navigate those transitions more easily and more readily, and you'll be healthier at the end of it as a result. And so ultimately, if you have the right mindset and you're proactive, you can avoid a lot of it, and ultimately possibly avoid the nursing home.
Yeah, well, you've worked with countless individuals, over 50 in both real estate and aging services. What common misconception about aging have you found most important to challenge? Like, what should we be challenging?
Well, I think it goes back to the institutions and the services that we all use as we age. The estate planning, the financial planning, the realtor that comes and sells your home or sells you a new home. I think that people have an assumption that all of these people have special training to help you as you age, and that they keep that in mind as they're doing the planning and working with you. And so what happens is we let loose of our control a bit. We let loose of our control, and we think, okay, I've got this planner and he's got my future in mind, and he knows what he's doing, and I don't have to really get in the trenches and learn anything about it. And so they let loose of the reins in all of these areas, and these areas really are all interconnected. That's what I always say with vibrant aging. But nonetheless, this is a big deal. And so they trust these people, and many times these people are not trained. They're not trained in to know anything about aging, or they're not trained in long-term care products and what's available in the market. They're not trained to know what should be expected in a home when I buy it when I'm 50 years old. They aren't trained. So in aging, I've seen so many times that people kind of give over the reins in these areas, and if they've done some planning, they feel that it's taken care of. But it sneaks up on them when they find out that actually they don't really have the right product or service for what their needs are, and no one ever discussed it with them. So,
well, and you say that no one's ever going to pay as much attention to your future as you should be, or as we should be. So I think that's food for thought. And I think you're right. People mean well, but if they don't have the training, that famous saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, so much of the time as we're aging, that's such a great point. We don't know the questions to ask. And all of that is very, very tricky. You can go to a professional who you trust and who, you may have been referred to and you may feel very comfortable with. But does he or she, how far down the road is he or she thinking, and does he or she have the education that they need to have? Those are questions we don't ask in the front end, and it would really be a great idea to do that. Also, we need to understand what products and services they're selling us. And so we have to take a little bit of responsibility in this process in order to be really proactive about our aging.
Now, to the book. How does your book help us start reimagining our own aging process, and what main messages do you want readers to take away from your book?
Well, I think that it helps us to see that problems can occur in life, and we first need to know that from 1 to 100, we are aging, first of all. 1 to 100, we're all aging. And so it doesn't matter if you're 10, if you're 20, if you're 50, if you're 80. You are aging, and we're all aging at the same rate. We're going to, in life, encounter problems. It's how we navigate them. And I recommend that we all try to get and earn and establish wisdom in our life. Focus on it. So the book is really important for people to understand that wisdom is what guides us through life. And we really can then make informed decisions. It's important to be able to make informed decisions as you age. And it's important to have resilience and adaptability. And it's important to have healthy relationships and continuous learning. It's important to have balanced perspective and ultimately a legacy of knowledge. That all comes from being wise about your aging. And wise about your aging, you have to be truthful with yourself about it. And so in all those areas in the book, I'm covering all those areas because those areas are so important. But it's all tied to wisdom. It's all tied to wisdom. We can't hide our head in a bushel bag, some kind of bushel bag, and expect it to work out okay. We have to do something with this. We have to make decisions, wise decisions in certain areas of our life. So the experiences that I have in the book, I share with people because through those experiences I learned. And I think we have to do that in our life. We have to look back at our experiences, the negative and the positive, and we have to learn from them. And so I'm sharing those experiences throughout the book, but ultimately I'm promoting the wisdom that we can get from those experiences and how we can carry forward and make informed decisions and make decisions about, as I said, healthy relationships and continuous learning and all of that.
Your statement, aging should be celebrated, not feared, I think is so important because, so often it's like, oh, another birthday. But, there's a point where we should be just like, no, this is exciting, right?
Yes. Because new things come along. Each stage of life you're going through and you're experiencing things differently. And you can connect with new people, do new things. And it is how you embrace it, how you walk through it, how the attitude you have towards it that is so powerful in making it just, you're living life on your own terms. You're living life on your own terms when you do that.
Right.
You're not sitting back in the chair and saying, whatever happens to me is going to happen to me. You're stepping up to the plate of your life and saying, it's going to be the way I orchestrate it.
Well, you mentioned breaking free from inertia. What do you find is the most common form of stuckness that people experience as they age?
Procrastination.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I agree with you.
Often I think about that, original way back Nike commercial, just do it.
Yeah.
And I say that to myself a lot still to this day. If there's something, I'll just go, just do it. Okay, just do it. That's what I kind of work on myself with. But we all have that propensity to procrastinate. And there's lots of reasons for it. Fear is one of the biggest reasons why people procrastinate. They just, they're afraid. They don't know what's out there.
Change is hard.
Yes, it really is. And, and of course, we live in a day and age with overwhelming amount of resources, overwhelming amount of information. And that can get us stuck right where we are because, oh my goodness, I went to this site or this Google whatever, and this person says that, and this person says that. And, all right,
information overload.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to do anything because there's too many decisions and I don't know what I'm doing. And so a lot of things happen, but it is procrastination. And some people, everybody procrastinates for a different reason, but you can paint a really bright, rainbow of beautiful things that will happen. And I've done it for years. Should you plan? Should you be proactive? Should you be whatever? And still people just sit, they're just procrastinate and they're stuck a lot of the time. And it isn't until a crisis hits them. That's what I found out. Crisis hits when they'll come to me and go, okay, you've been saying this. Now what do we do?
Yeah, no. And I think, the comfort and familiarity, like that's also challenging.
Yes. And, anyone that's reading this book, I'm hoping that they're getting the impression that there is a process they can go through to improve the quality of life as they age, and that they can take control of it. They have more control of it than they realize. And if they embrace aging early on and walk through life, understanding everything in the context of the fact that they are getting a little older every day, things start to work out. And you feel that you have more control. And that is empowering. That's empowering.
Now, as someone who's helped many clients transition through different life stages, what's the most surprising insight you've gained about the aging process?
Well, I think you have to know yourself to actually embrace the aging fully. And throughout the years, what I've found is I'm very surprised to find a lot of people really don't know themselves all that well, and they aren't that comfortable in their skin. And I think the people that age the best, and I've watched them all the way up to 100, almost 100 years old. I had a client that was 99, and she was walking, talking, she wasn't driving, but she was amazing all the way until the day she died. And it's just, it's powerful. But, you just have to embrace the aging as you go along and stick with it and make the right decisions and not be fearful. And it all comes together. But you have to take it upon yourself. It is a bit of work.
You say that it's not just a biological process.
No, aging is not just a biological process. It's a physical, emotional, spiritual, and societal process. Cultural. You're aging in the moment, every moment that goes by in a day, and you're connecting with other people. You're influenced by all types of different factors. And so it is not just biological. And I really cringe when I hear people thinking that aging is all about your health. Well, certainly it is about your health in a massive way, but it's about so much more. And so each and every day we need to strive for balance. We need to have those relationships that are healthy. We need to have work that we enjoy or a purpose in life if we're older. We need to spend time with other people. We need to, there's so much included in this. Sure, and what ends up happening in older life so much is we see people just spending their life in the doctor's office because they think that's the end of where it is, and there we are. And that's just not where we should be. We need to have so much more than that.
Well, I want to go back. You said, how important is it as we age to have a purpose? And does that evolve?
Yes. Purpose evolves. You may attain and achieve one purpose in your life, like working and, getting promotions and things like that. Then in the next stage of your life, you're not interested in that as much. You may take a part-time job, but you certainly still have to have purpose. If you're just going to sit at home and watch the TV and end up in the doctor's office every day, you'll age a lot more rapidly. Purpose gives inertia to your life. It brings energy to your life. It puts you out in the field with people doing things, and it just keeps you younger. It's an amazing thing. And so many people, the word retirement is not really the greatest word for me because people think, okay, I'm 60. I have friends doing this right now. They're 65. Oh, I can retire. I was working all my life. Well, then what do? They go home and sit, and they kind of, maybe some of them have hobbies, maybe not. But I think that word retirement is like kind of a dead-end street for people, and it's not very healthy. It's not a healthy term. It should be the second phase of life, or, second retirement, or whatever. People need to continue to go on and interact with life and not just stop.
What advice would you give to readers about balancing material success with spiritual growth?
Material success is something that, I really strove for in my 20s, and I really thought that was the key to everything. And material success is wonderful in the context of the spiritual realm. I have seen people who have had all the wealth in the world who cannot deal with anything spiritual, and they're not interested in the least bit. I think that as we age, we need to be more focused on the spiritual side of ourselves and being comfortable with ourselves spiritually. And then as the wealth and money comes, we're able to control it better. We're able to manage it. It doesn't manage us. And we have a blessing of having both the spiritual side and the wealth. I've seen the wealth just totally destroy the spiritual side of people.
Why was writing this book so important to you?
This book was so important to me because I feel, having all the life experience that I have, that you can take this by the hand, you're aging, and partner with it. It can be your best partner. It could be, you can walk through life with aging as your partner. And I wanted to share that because people live in fear over it. People don't know what to do with it. And I thought, I share that with my clients, but, that's one-on-one. And I thought this book could possibly reach more people with the hope that aging can be fabulous. Aging doesn't have to be something to dread. And I think that's the message. That's the message. I mean, I can break it down in health and finance and all the areas that I've been involved in and show you how you can approach each of those areas. But today, for the matter of, this podcast, it is important for me just to say, aging is not what you think it is. Come read the book. Come, learn and try to view aging differently. Try to view your aging differently. And take it on as a partner.
Absolutely. I want you to tell me a little bit about your new Thrive Together caregiver community that you're launching. What is its purpose and who is it for?
The purpose is you as a family caregiver are struggling with so many things, but you don't have to do it alone. Okay? That's why we're building this community, because there are 53 million, and really that's the low end. I read reports, depending on the type of caregiving they're doing, up to 100 million people in this country are caregivers, family caregivers, and they are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with the physical aspect of caring for the person they're caring for, and the financial and the emotional, all these things. Well, as I put Vibrant Aging Solutions together with all of the 12 key areas I focus on holistically, I realized that really the person that's hurting the most is the family caregiver. So this network is amazing. It's an amazing network. It's like a social network. It's like a social network where people come together and family caregivers can talk to each other. They can support each other. They can come up with their own solutions. We also offer resources and workshops and events, weekly events. We have monthly themes. So it's going to have, kind of a fun aspect to it. Yeah. We have a caregiver coach on board. I call myself a longevity coach. I'm going to be on board. You can make appointments with either of us through the community. But this community is just about trying to get people involved and a lot of times caregivers are isolated. They're not only stressed, they're isolated. So we're building this to bring people, caregivers into it so that they have a place to go where they can talk at any hour of the day. And if they happen to be taking their loved one to the doctor's office, they can go to a caregiver support group and they can do it on their phone. And so, whatever little time in between whatever functions they're performing for their care recipient, they can go on their phone or their computer and they can find some activity going on or talk to someone to help them to get through what they're going through. And so ultimately, we want to help to transform the caregiving experience for people through this community.
That's so interesting. What is the best way for listeners to connect with you?
Yes, that would be through my email. Which is summer@vibrantagingsolutions.com. And my website is vibrantagingsolutions.com. And I'll give you Thrive Together. Now, Thrive Together is my caregiver community that is launching in May. So it's not available right now, but it's launching in May. And the website address for that is caregiversthrivetogether.net.
And where can we find your book?
You can find the book on Amazon. Just go to amazon.com and type in Reimagining the Ultimate Elephant.
Summer, thank you so much for this. It's been a real pleasure.
Yes, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
I've been speaking with author Sarah Summer Jackson. Her book, Reimagining the Ultimate Elephant, Changing the Perception of Aging, is available now.